Hey, it's July the 5th. I guess you guys have heard about the earthquakes that's been happening on the Cascadia. 6.2 up in Bella Bella and another 6.4 down in California. Well, I guess Seattle's next. And anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. When I actually woke up this morning, I'm off the mountain. I'm no longer working on the mountain. They really, they call themselves Christians, but they really don't have love in their heart. And it's manifest in their actions, right? When I got up this morning, left the mountain, came back to Hope, something changed in my heart. And when I was up the mountain, they hired me as a maintenance worker to cut the grass and things like that. And when they found out that I do carpentry work, well, guess what? They wanted me to spend all my time doing carpentry and fixing up. They didn't keep to their verbal agreement that they made with me, that we made together to work on top of the mountain. And so that kind of ticked me off a little bit, but I said, well, I could swallow that pill. That's okay. So anyway, when I last night it came down to the wire, and I asked her, what about keeping your part of the agreement? So I don't mind doing the carpentry work, but I'm not going to get caught up into doing it full time, because that's not what you hired me on for. It says there's still lots of work to do to clean up the buildings and the grass around the buildings and that. Can I go back and and finish it? And they said no. And I asked them a second time. I says, well, I can't work for you guys because you have no integrity. You don't keep your word. You're breaking your own contract. So I left. That's why I'm not working on top of the mountain anymore. They call themselves Christians, but yet there's no fruit, and they're walking in deception, things like that, not keeping their own word, no integrity. I can't work for people like that, so that's why I'm back here on the mountain, or off the mountain here in Hope, not knowing where my next job is going to come from. And anyway, that's all right, because He has a way. But anyway, like I said, when I woke up this morning, there's something different. And when I woke up this morning, one thing that was in my heart, and that was love. Just the love of God. I've been thinking about circumstances in the past where I've seen the love of God manifest in different ways, different situations. And if you really look at it, what's going to kick off this next revival? It's going to be the love of God, right? When Jesus came, when He chose His 12 disciples and He began to walk with them and teach them the kingdom, it's not what He was saying so much as His message was in His actions. It's very noisy here at Walmart's. And it was His actions. He was a God manifest in flesh. He was walking with the love of His Father in His heart, and that's the true message. And if you look at the churches, they have that to a certain degree. They're still going through their learning process, learning their ABCs and things like that. That's why God's put the apostles and prophets into the church as foundation ministries to basically teach love. That's what it's all about. And if we're not manifesting the fruits of love, like we go through the process, we put on the fruits of the Spirit, and it all comes together. It prepares us to walk together with each other in love. Not just talk about the love of God, but to manifest it. And if you look at the churches, many people go in with needs, and the same people come out with the same needs unfulfilled. The churches are not meeting even the needs of their people. I'm not talking, scripturally. They might be giving them the manna of the word, right? Things like that. A bunch of fancy scriptures and talks. But the end result, the churches are not walking in love one for another. And you can see it by the fruit. And people go in with needs, physical needs, maybe financial needs, and the needs are not being met. The needs go, the money that comes in from the churches go to promote the buildings, to keep the buildings up, pay the pastor's salary. I know that's all needful, but yet the needs of the people are being left without. And I'd just like to share a story. I want to keep these short. I don't want to keep these stories long. So I'm going to come back. I want to share a story with you. It's going to be a few stories. And if you look at scriptures, it says, when that which is perfect is come, that which is in part shall be done away with. And what is God talking about? He's talking about love.